I could have your attention now in the media center, we're now joined by two challengers for the Championship 4 in the NASCAR Xfinity Series with 4 spots available here at Phoenix International Raceway. We have Elliott Sadler, driver of the number 1 OneMain Chevrolet, and we have Erik Jones, driver of the number 20 Hisense Toyota, and we also have Ryan Reed, driver of the number 16 Diabetes, American Diabetes Association Ford. 3 guys going for the 4 spots available in the NASCAR Xfinity Series. I'm going to start with you, Elliott. This chase format, brand new in the Xfinity Series, has it met your expectations? How do you feel it's played out from your perspective this year?
Well, I definitely think it's met its expectations. There's so many different storylines and teams with momentum. Seems like each and every week and each and every different track we go to, it's you definitely see guys more aggressive than what we saw in the regular season, especially when it's the first race of a different round. Like we saw in Kansas and like we saw in Kentucky, and then you kind of play it from there depending on where you're at. But definitely, I think it's great for the Xfinity Series. I think it's really good for our sport. It's really good for our fans. It's great for our sponsors, and I think it's doing a good job bringing recognition to the drivers involved. So all in all, I think it's definitely been a great first year for the race to the chase for the Xfinity Series.
Erik, if the Championship 4 were set today, you would be in the field of Miami. Can you feel comfortable at all, though, going into tomorrow's race?
No, not entirely. I mean, more comfortable than we were going into Charlotte in the last round. But, it's just been kind of an up-and-down chase for us. It's hard to be in a spot where, you feel entirely comfortable. I mean, 7 points, I believe, is what we're up right now, but it's still not a huge gap. So it just takes one mistake or, one thing to go wrong, and we're out. So we just need to have a solid day and do what we need to do in advance.
Ryan, how much pressure are you feeling now, knowing that to guarantee a spot at Miami, you have to win to get in? How much pressure is that on your shoulders at this point?
Honestly, I don't feel a ton of pressure. I feel like we just go in here and, kind of leave it all out there. We give 110%. We can take chances. I think me and Erik are probably, completely swapped positions. And, like he said, one mistake and you're out. Well, we are out right now, so we have to go in there and we have to do everything right to get in. So I don't feel a whole lot of pressure. It's not like it's mine to lose right now. We got to go out there and we got to go get it. So, I feel like, in practice we got to work really hard. We had about a 10th place car, I felt like, in practice, and I felt like that, and so, sometimes I think, you look at, okay, small changes. Well, we're throwing a lot at it right now in between sessions. So I think it's just an example of, we got to take chances. We've got to get away from, some baseline stuff, and we've got to be able to be willing to try stuff. So just do whatever we can and not regret anything come tomorrow afternoon.
Great. We're going to open the floor for questions. If you have a question for these 3 gentlemen, please raise your hand. We're going to start in the back with Mr. Knight.
Hi, Elliott. This is for you. I'm Michael Knight for the Arizona Republic. In your victory lane interviews this year, you've been pretty emotional for a variety of reasons. Have you ever allowed yourself to get to the point where you would say to yourself, this might finally be my year for the championship?
I think, some of the emotional part is, I didn't know where my career was going to be in June and July. I didn't know if I would still be a part of the sport I love so much, past Homestead this year. So when you get kind of a second opportunity, which I felt like I've gotten this year, and we felt like we've capitalized on it and made the most of it, it makes me pretty emotional. You're never guaranteed or promised to win any weekend. You never know when your next win's going to come. So if you're able to win at some special places like we have this year, winning the throwback paint scheme at Darlington meant a lot to me. I've been going that racetrack for a long time. Winning the first ever Xfinity Chase race ever, to go down in the history books with that is pretty emotional from a small town kid in Emporia, Virginia. So yeah, I've been emotional about it. It's really been probably the best year I've ever had in the Xfinity Series as far as stats are concerned. I've been close before. I've lost some. I've had one taken away from me. So championships are hard to come by. But I've been racing since I was 7 years old, and I was a fan of the sport first, and as a kid, you're always, in our part of the country, it'd be a great honor to be a NASCAR champion. So all that being said, we're very humbled to be in the position that we're in, but we're looking forward to the challenge, and all we're asking for is an opportunity to race for it next week. And if we play our cards like we're supposed to, we should have that chance.
Thank you. Yes, sir. Go next to Wolfgang.
Question also for Elliott, Wolfgang Monzer from Germany. Elliott, 2 races more and then the season is over. Can you say something about your plans for 2017 already?
Yeah, I mean, we're coming back to be a part of the junior motorsports family. We've just extended to four teams, and I'm very fortunate enough to be a part of that. And OneMain has come back on board for a multi-year deal. So, we're definitely looking forward to the future that we have together. As a company, as a team, and as a group. So we're looking forward to getting through these next 2 races. But the future looks not only really good for me and my family, but also for the whole junior motorsports program with the new rules and stuff we have to have 4 full-time Xfinity guys running for the championship next year. I think gives us a lot of chances to make some waves, and we've all bought into this system, and hopefully it'll work for the future of our company that we're all in.
Any additional questions for these gentlemen? We'll go here to Chris.
Chris Knight, XFINITY.com. Doesn't apply to Erik because he'll be in Cup next year, but for Elliott and Ryan, we saw a lot of things change as far as the Xfinity Series platform this year. Just wondering if you guys felt like that the heat races that we saw in 2016 are something that you guys would like to see continue in 2017.
Yeah, I mean, I think the heat races have definitely changed a lot of the dynamic. If you look at those races, it shortens the main event. So our change, we have really 1 pit stop in a lot of those races. So I think that they changed up the dynamic, changed what you're looking at. From the driver's seat, it certainly felt different. I think there's room to be improved on. I think we can figure out a way to continue doing heat races. I think there is a lot there, and I think that there is a way to make those really exciting. I like how you raced in the heat race to get yourself locked in for the Dash for Cash in the main, but I think we could continue to make them even better yet.
I'm not going to fall for the trap or answering that question, Chris. I'm going to say whatever the fans like and NASCAR likes, whatever format they bring to the racetrack, man, we're going to race. So that's our job as drivers, is to how many laps we got to run, that's what we got to run. Yeah, you were.
Apparently I'm young and dumb enough to fall for the trap.
Any additional questions for these gentlemen? Well, guys, good luck tomorrow in the race, and good luck next week in Miami.
Thank you, guys. It's good to see some of y'all, too, by the way.
If I could have your attention here in the media center. We are now joined by Denny Hamlin, driver of the number 11 FedEx Ground Toyota for Joe Gibbs Racing. Denny, you're coming into a racetrack this weekend, trying to make that championship Ford Field in Miami. Good track record here. Still can't feel comfortable going into this race week. And what's your mindset as you head into Sunday's race?
It all starts today, trying to get a good qualifying spot, get a good pit selection, and go from there. I mean, that's all we really concentrated on today was try to run fast for 2 laps, and we'll see how it turns out tonight.
Outstanding. We're going to open the floor up for questions. We're going to start with Jeff, and we'll work our way around.
Do you want to know what the point situation is toward the end of the race? Do you want people to keep you updated on that?
No, I don't think so. I don't think it matters. I think that if I can see people in front of me that I'm racing in points, I know I'm behind, and I know if I'm in front of them, I'm probably ahead. So I think it's tight enough to where I think realistically, whoever finishes ahead of who's probably going to get in.
Go next to Tom.
Denny, Tom Jensen, FoxSports.com. Is it an advantage having 3 guys on one team fighting for the spots, or would you rather be the only guy on your team fighting for a spot now?
I don't know. I think it's close. I mean, it has its benefits. It has its hardships. But I think that for the most part, I like the opportunity for more of us to make it to the Final Four. I think there's a very good chance, no matter what. There's a very good chance that at least 2 Gibbs cars will be in the Final Four, which would be good. So we're all going to battle each other hard and race each other as hard as we can, because we all ultimately know that we have to beat each other to get in. But it's just you do it as fair and as clean as you can.
We'll go next to Jenna.
I asked Matt the same question, so I'm not singling you out. But because of the mathematics the way that they are, is there a chance of there being hurt feelings between one or two of you Gibbs drivers with the other come Sunday night?
Well, there's always a chance. I mean, there's going to be, there's an opportunity for, two or three of us to be disappointed, or none of us, or one of us. So, there's always going to be hurt feelings, but I don't think it has anything to do with each other. I think that, for me, if I don't make it, we just didn't run good enough. I mean, we've had two, one good finish and one average finish in this round, and really you've got to have a lot of speed at every racetrack. Every race in this, the Texas, Martinsville, and Phoenix is an elimination race. Even though they cut us off at the end of today, it started in Martinsville. So you have to have speed every single race. So if we don't make it, it's not my teammates' fault. It's our own.
Go next to Dustin.
Dustin Long, NBC Sports. At Martinsville, the talk was about you defending that position because of you were aware of the tiebreaker situation potentially. Was it as much because of what you went through at Talladega that made you aware of it, or were you always aware of it throughout the chase? Because obviously it could come back, and that could be a big thing come Sunday.
Absolutely. I mean, that's why I fought as hard as I could to maintain the position that I was in, and really I finished in it. It's not like I got passed with 10 laps to go. So yeah, it's very important. We know that right now I have a third. The only way we can improve that, and not because of a win, would be to finish second this weekend. And I think we finish top two, second in particular. I don't see how I know how we couldn't make it, but I think it's very unlikely. We start finishing third, fourth. I don't like our chances too much. So we know we have to run up front, and so every position matters, even those tiebreakers. I obviously saw that in the previous round.
Any questions for Denny? We'll go to Nate.
Penny, you said very good chance that two Gibbs cars would make it. Some might handicap it more as a good chance because of Harvick, because he's won 5 of 6 here. Did you see any weaknesses from them in the first session? Do you think he's not the overwhelming favorite that maybe people are saying he is? Or
not really. I mean, they were in race trim, I think, for the most of the practice. We were in qualifying trim, so you really can't gauge much off of that. But no, I never really see much weakness, and I would say off their track record, you would always just assume they're going to win.
Go next to Jenna.
What's the protocol when you got, for example, after Martinsville when Kyle was upset with you? What's the protocol for how you guys handle that? And does Joe just leave it up to you guys?
Sometimes. I mean, there's some other times where he has to get involved, but really it's we have to communicate with each other. That's the biggest thing. Is you can't keep feelings bottled up for years and years, and all of a sudden it all explodes. And so I think I've got a great working relationship with all my teammates, and if one of them wrecks me this weekend, I'll be mad for a couple days and I'll get over it. I mean, it's just part of it. I respect them all enough to understand that we're competitors, but we're also teammates, and that's a very fine line. So you're gonna have hurt feelings here and there. I mean, we're battling each other, which is what we all wanted to do. I mean, if we had all 4 cars at Homestead racing for the championship, there's gonna be 3 guys pissed off. So that's what we get. We want to accomplish. There's only gonna be one champion. So. Sometimes it's your time, sometimes it's not.
Go next to Kenny.
Kenny Bruce with NASCAR.com. Denny, with all the talk of chase scenarios and teammates helping each other and not helping each other, do we tend to overthink this sometimes maybe more than you guys do? That at the end of the day, the fact is you just need to go out there and try to win the race, and if you don't win it, get the best finish possible, and you either move on or you don't.
Absolutely. Well said. I mean, that's exactly right. Yeah, I think that it's you guys are all trying to have a story and have a storyline, which is what you're supposed to do. It definitely gets dicey, and you saw after Martinsville, between teammates, so you're always kind of dissecting. Well, what is this person thinking? What did this person say? But within each other, I don't think it's that big of a deal as it sometimes seems. But it's going to be exciting. I think that we're in for a very, very competitive race where I think that the guys that are battling for points, if we're not battling for wins, we're all going to be very, very close to each other all day long. So I think it's going to be down to the last lap.
Additional questions? We'll finish up here with Nate.
I guess riffing off of that, Denny, what are the odds that something could happen like Newman-Larson 2 years ago? Good if it comes down the last lap?
If it's not a teammate, I'm hoping their spotter's going to give them a heads up that the 11's coming. So that's all. If I would have no issues doing something like that. That was a little aggressive, but I mean, moving somebody to get that spot to get in the Final Four, I'm not sure anybody would really fault you for that. What's that? No, I would not.
Well, Denny?
That's my answer today.
Well, you know what, Denny? We look forward to your answer on Sunday, and we wish you the best of luck.
All right, thanks.
Take care, buddy. If I could have everybody's attention here in the Media Center, we'll continue on with our pre-race media availability with Kyle Busch, driver of the number 18 M&M's Toyota Camry for Joe Gibbs Racing. Kyle, you've had success at this racetrack in the past, a lot on the line this weekend. How do you feel? What's your confidence level going into Sunday?
We just need to try to make sure that we can finish ahead of those that we're racing, essentially. It's kind of what our mindset is and what our goals are. We just got to make sure that we have good enough stuff to be able to go out and achieve those things. So we'll keep working on what we got.
Good deal. We're going to open the floor for questions. If you have a question for Kyle, we'll start with Jeff. We'll go to Lee and then to Tom.
Do you want to know what your points position is as you're running, or is it just going to be obvious to you?
I can't hear you.
Do you want to know what your points position is as you're running during the race?
Is that it? I'll pretty much be able to know what it is just based off of what's ahead of me and what's not. We're all so tight that it just boils down to finishing ahead of those that we're around. We got to beat the 20, we got to beat the 11, and we got to beat the 22. If we do all those things, then we'll be fine.
Next to Lee.
Lee, SpencerMotorsport.com. As a team owner, what do you look for when you're hiring a driver? There's going to be a lot of movement going on in Xfinity and Cup, a lot of changes. What specifically are you looking for?
You're looking for results. I mean, guys got to be able to go out there and perform. They got to be able to do a good job. A lot of the kids that we've had, they've been successful. They've won races. Erik Jones won races in late models all the time, and then Christopher Bell, he's a standout in the dirt series stuff. That's kind of where I put myself at, because I've sort of put myself in that same situation that I never really moved up in a series until I was able to win in it or run competitive in it each week. I think there's only been one series of race cars back when I was 14 that I never won in that we, I guess, didn't either care about or whatever, but I've won in everything else and done really well to be able to move myself on farther up the ranks.
Do you think Bowman has shown that he deserves a second chance in Cup?
The
guys have the best equipment there is.
I think Bowman's been doing a pretty good job. Whether or not he deserves it or not, that's up to Rick Hendrick, not my problem.
We'll go next to Tom, then to Claire, and then to Chris.
Hey, Kyle. Tom Jensen, FoxSports.com. There's 3 teams competing for the final spots, a 1-car team, a 2-car team, and essentially the 3 guys from your team with Carl locked in. Does any of those teams have an advantage based on the number of guys going for the last spot?
Let me rephrase that question. Who do we look at as being our stiffest competition of making it through?
Is it easier being on a one-car team going for the last spot, or easier being on a three-car, having three guys on the team going for the last spot? Does it favor Joe Gibbs? Does it favor Penske?
Yes. Of course it does. You know, right now we've got 3 sets of data points that we can look at versus somebody that's on a single car team only has themselves. So, of course it's going to favor the guys that have 4 teams. That's pretty much why there's a maximum of 4 teams. If there wasn't, there'd be guys that have more cars, more teams.
Go next to Claire.
Claire B. Lang, Sirius XM NASCAR Radio. We always talk about, when we debate this on air, about champions. When you've been a champion, if being in the clinch position is helpful. You've been through it once, you got a championship. Do you believe that to be true with you in the pressure situation of this and the cutoff and whatnot and crazy things happening? And then can you also talk about the restarts here?
I think that when you do have a championship, yes, you don't have the same amount of pressure and tense moments and things like that. You don't necessarily let it get to you as much. You can just kind of more so float through the process and kind of let what comes to you come to you. So, that's what we did last year. We essentially played with house money. Didn't think we really. A lot of people said we didn't deserve to be there. We didn't feel that way, but we just, did what we needed to do in order to make it through each round and contend for the championship, and we won the thing. So, the rules are what the rules are. We won it fair and square, and now this year we're doing the same sort of thing. We're just trying to make sure that we do all the right things in order to have a good, solid day here on Sunday to make sure that we're eligible going into next week. And restarts here at Phoenix, yeah, they're crazy sometimes because it's such a flat racetrack and it's kind of dirty. It takes a while. It takes at least halfway through the race before you really get to see 2 grooves kind of working and the restarts become less treacherous. But restarts at the end can always be crazy when you've got guys that stay out and guys that don't stay out, that come in and get tires like we saw here in the spring. So there's certainly some tense moments, especially with the cars being as ill-handling as they are on colder tires and lower air pressure. They just kind of slide around for a few laps until you get going.
Go to Chris and then to Jeff.
Chris Knight, catchfence.com. Kyle, Noah Gregson makes his Truck Series debut tonight. Came out of the board swinging today, 3rd in practice, 1st practice, 10th in this final practice. Thinks he's got a shot to potentially win the truck race tonight. How good is it for him to get this experience at Phoenix and Homestead? And have you been watching him and have you talked to him?
I've just been watching the television coverage, but other than that, I didn't talk to him a whole lot. I've never raced here in a truck since the repave, so wouldn't be worth calling me and talking to me about it. So I did tell him to call Erik Jones and get some feedback from Erik. Obviously, he's been really good here. He's, I think, won a couple times. So, our stuff's always pretty good here, which is good. It gives those guys a better chance of having a good run. We've got 4 of them in the field tonight, but we certainly want to see the two of them be able to move on and go race for a championship next week in Homestead. But it's going to be a good, solid night. We just need a good, solid night from Noah to be able to have some laps here to complete the race. Same thing at Homestead, complete the race to just get his eligibility for Daytona next year. That's all this exercise is all about.
Were you impressed with what you saw?
I don't. If you look at the board, yeah, that's pretty good. That's nice to see. I haven't talked to anybody, so I don't know anything about how any of the communications and stuff were.
Jeff?
Jenna asked Denny if he'd move a teammate on the last lap if he had to get the Final 4 spot. And he said no, and then he smiled and he said, "That's my answer today." What's your answer to that?
Absolutely.
Go next to Jim.
Jim Hunter, Motorsport.com. When the season started, there seemed to be a lot of enthusiasm from drivers about the aero package. It seems to have waned some as the season's drawn to an end. What's your assessment now that we're almost done with the year, and do you think the changes for 2017 will make a difference?
The beginning of the season was a few unknowns for teams and drivers and things like that, and we all kind of had to get used to it. But as in the case of everything else, we all figure out what's going on and how to make our cars better for what our situations are and what the aero package is and everything like that, and it just seems to kind of die off. So yes, I would agree we had better racing in the beginning of the season because the engineers didn't have all that amount of time to figure it out. Since they figured it out, and it's kind of dulled it a little bit. What do I look forward in the next year? It's the thing that keeps us all alive is the thing that's going to kill racing. It's air. I mean, that's what it is. You look at Formula One; they're not doing anything special. It's more than splitters and spoilers that's going to fix racing. I don't know what it is. It's not for me to figure out, but that's where I'm at.
Any additional questions for Kyle? Well, Kyle, thanks for taking the time to join us. Good luck.
Oh, I had a blast.